Just announced last week via Ubiquiti's official YouTube channel, I'll put a link down below, is the new UniFi Protect AI 360 camera. This is a different camera from any other type of camera that Ubiquiti has put out thus far. This is a 360-degree fisheye camera that's meant to be suspended upside down with the lens pointing down to cover a 360-degree view of a store or a parking lot or other similar type of function. So let's take a look at what they released on their YouTube channel. I have it right here. We're gonna hit play. Of course, there we have our Star Wars intro, right? All right, let's take a look at this camera.
Introducing the AI 360 camera, an intelligent, high-performance digital pan-tilt zoom camera that brings complete 360-degree coverage and enhanced detection capabilities to your UniFi Protect security deployment. Sporting an ultra-wide 360-degree fisheye lens, the AI 360 provides complete, highly detailed panoramic coverage of large areas with a single camera, making it the ideal solution for shopping centers, restaurants, parking lots, and other high-foot traffic areas. The AI 360 also provides enhanced smart detection capabilities, the latest in detection technology that allows the AI 360 to detect a person or vehicle to a much higher degree of confidence than ever before. With a compact, modern design, the AI 360 includes a built-in microphone and speaker for clear, intelligible two-way audio communication, and comes with two interchangeable bubble lenses, including an optional water and impact-resistant bubble lens for outdoor installations, as well as built-in infrared for crisp, high-quality night vision. Completely powered by PoE, the AI 360 is easy to install, and with the UniFi Protect mobile app, the camera is automatically detected and quickly added to your deployment. The AI 360.
Okay, so that you pretty much get it. That's the rest of the video, just, marketing stuff from there on out. So I wanted to make sure that we watch the whole thing first because last time I did a video like this, there was some feedback between my speakers and the microphone that I'm talking into right now. But I did have some thoughts about this camera just from this video. So number one, look right here. So I'm gonna mute this out. But they have this toggle switch, right? So it essentially functions as a pan-tilt zoom camera. And then you hit this button here, and it toggles it into this like 360-degree fisheye mode, which is pretty cool. But it's gonna, I'm curious how it's gonna function in reality, right? So are the pan tilt zoom controls, quick and responsive, right? Because you wouldn't want to necessarily leave it in the pan tilt zoom mode, given that the camera, at least thus far, none of the Ubiquiti cameras with the AI detection have had the ability to detect someone and zoom in on that person. There are some other camera brands that can do that, and I think it's just a software thing that I'm hoping Ubiquiti will have eventually. But if you are pan tilt zoomed and looking at this door over here and someone walks into this door over here, you're gonna miss them on the recording. So you kind of want to leave it in that 360-degree view. Or it would also be amazing if they had an option to do the pan tilt zoom, but after, X amount of minutes of inactivity, it reverts back to that 360-degree view in case you forgot to set it back to that for the actual recording of the footage. Or can you pan tilt zoom, but still always record in the 360-degree view, meaning that when you play back the videos, you'd also be able to pan tilt zoom on the playback. That I don't know, and I don't have one of these that I can test with. Again, this is an early access device, so I cannot comment on the actual functionality of the camera, even if I did have one, which I don't. All right, so they talk about their AI detection, which again, it shows that it is able to detect multiple people simultaneously. Like, look at this shot right here. And it is grabbing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or it's recognizing 6 different people simultaneously. Again, I'd love to know how that actually functions in reality. And then it also said that it has a microphone and speakers. Now, given what I've sort of tested with previous two-way Ubiquiti cameras, the speakers are typically not very effective. And I would also question the effectiveness of the speaker on this device, because if you think about it, this is meant to be a top-down device, right? So you're gonna have it in the ceiling, potentially 8, 10, 15 feet or more above the area that it's covering. So the speaker would have to be pretty good to function as a two-way communication device at that height, right? And so I'm not really confident that this speaker functionality is going to be useful with this device. And finally, we have this section right here. So this says, okay, here is the one lens. This is the non-weatherproof, tamper-proof lens right here. And notice how large a glass or a plastic area this has around the smaller lens inside. And then they interchange this lens for the one that is weather and tamper resistant. You see, that's this one here. But now look at this one. Has a much smaller plastic dome piece above the camera's 360, or next to the camera's 360 lens, and then it has this other sort of section around here. So I guess my question would be, why do we need two lenses, right? Why isn't the dust-proof, tamper-proof lens good enough for situations where you don't necessarily need it to be, dust-proof, weatherproof, tamper-proof, right? Why wouldn't they just make that the default lens? Like, what's the advantage to taking this one off and putting on the other lens? And the other one, keep in mind, looks like it has a lot more plastic, right? It's clearer around a larger area, wider area. So maybe it actually affects the view that the camera sees or something like that. I'm really not sure. This is just sort of confusing to me. Why do they need these two separate interchangeable lenses when you would think that this one that's tamper-proof would be good enough? And it sounds like they include both of the lenses in the kit when you buy the camera. So that's about it. It does go on to talk about, how easy it is to adopt into UniFi Protect. And, the more that I work with UniFi Protect, and I should say actually the more that I work with NVR systems that are not UniFi Protect, the more I appreciate how easy it is to work with UniFi Protect. They have really made it a nice sort of NVR user experience. It's really a nice polished product. Whereas something like, Blue Iris, which I've messed around with a little bit. In fact, this PC right back here is my Blue Iris test server. So far, to me personally, Protect is a really nice polished product. Of course, the downside of Protect is you can't just install it on a server, right? You have to buy their proprietary hardware to work with it. But, there is a trade-off there. Yes, you have to buy their proprietary hardware, but because they are using proprietary hardware for UniFi Protect, they can control that environment and control the software that goes onto it and just make it a better user experience because of that. So again, pros and cons both ways. Okay, so the price on this camera in the early access store, and again, prices are subject to change, but the price in early access right now is $299. Let's look at some comparable cameras that are similar to this one. So Axis has one. Axis has this M3067-P network camera, 6 megapixel mini dome with 360-degree panoramic view. The Ubiquiti camera is 5 megapixel. This is 6 megapixel, and that actually makes a pretty significant difference in terms of picture quality, as well as the size of the actual picture that it's recording. But if you dig into the documentation on this Axis camera, you'll notice that the resolution, when you are in 360-degree mode, is actually 2016 by 2016. Whereas Ubiquiti's is 1920 by 1920. So they're almost the same exact picture size when you're doing the full 360-degree recording. Now this Axis camera can do all of these other different types of recording as well. The Axis camera, though, is significantly more expensive at $469 for this Axis M3067P. And of course, that's not counting the NVR or anything else that you need to go with it. Now here's another one from Hikvision or Hikvision. I'm not sure exactly how you say that. This is another 6 megapixel camera, and they have a few different versions of this camera, but they're all in the range of $380 to $550. I'm not sure of the exact differences between them. They're all 6 megapixel. It might have to do with, tamper-proof or something like that. If you know, put that down in the comments below. I'm not an expert on Hikvision cameras. But the max resolution on this one is 3072 by 2048. Again, though, that's not telling you, that's just the max resolution. That's not telling you like what's the resolution when it's in that 360 degree fisheye mode, which I assume would be square and not a 16 by 9 type of resolution, or whatever this aspect ratio is for 3072 by 2048. Now the Hikvision camera will do 30 frames per second. I think the Axis camera is up to 60 frames per second. Yeah, so 360 degree view up to 60 frames per second on that Axis camera that was $469. And then there's also another similar 5 megapixel network fisheye camera from Dahua that is just over $400 for this camera as well. And this camera is 5 megapixel, it says 2592 by 1944 at 30 frames per second. This one does have IP67 ingress protection, IK10 vandal resistance. So that's a nice camera, but again, it doesn't actually tell you what the 360 degree view resolution is. So $400 for that camera. So again, what's the point of all this? There are competing cameras on the market that are very similar to what Ubiquiti is doing with the new AI 360. Each of these cameras that I've found is more expensive, right? So the cheapest one that I found, the cheapest Hikvision 360 degree camera is $380 versus Ubiquiti's $299. And in my opinion, the NVR options that you get with these other cameras are not as seamless a user experience as UniFi Protect is. So again, what do you guys think? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about the new AI 360 camera from Ubiquiti. Put those down in the comments below. I read every comment that you guys put down there. All right, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please click subscribe. My name's Chris with Crosstalk Solutions, and thank you so much for watching.